Okay, welcome back to What Happens in Vegas. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie Canestraro, and today we have an amazing guest, Ian Clark. He's the founder of Activation Products, which we love and use with all of our athletes. So we're so excited to have you here and dive in to learn everything you have to teach us about magnesium and all your other wonderful products.
Yeah, very cool. And yeah, I love your work. The things that you're into, we can definitely bring gold and great information to further your work and further your mission. And
Yeah, and we're
this
both.
whole thing started back 21 years ago, where I hit the wall about 100 miles an hour with my health. And I mean, really break down bad things were going on when I was 46 years old. Now, I turned 60 June, and I'm healthier than I've ever been in my entire life by about 100 times healthier,
Wow.
which has been very exciting journey. And that didn't happen by chance. It happened very intentionally because when I was in Toronto at the time and had a large tumor forming in my perineum, I had heart disease, significant heart disease, and I didn't know at the time, but my liver had gone off the rails. And I knew nothing about natural health. And I mean, all the doctors were telling me that they were going to do all the things to me that they did to my uncles in 1978 on my mom's side. They both died 2 days apart. They were diagnosed with cancer, terminal cancer, and they all died. They both died within 1 year of diagnosis,
Wow.
following the exact instructions. And it just turned me right off. I was like, what? Why am I like that way I am? I didn't have the lifestyle they did. They smoked and drank and did all those things that normal people did back then. And I thought, why is this happening? And no one could answer those questions. And I thought, well, if they can't tell me why I have what I have, then I'm not going to take their treatment. And I'd certainly have no interest in being told you've got 36 months to live if you do this, this, and this. And if you don't, well, it could be much sooner. Pattern interrupt. I called my brother, who was a medical doctor for 30 years in North Bay, Ontario. At that time, he'd been practicing about 23 years. And I told him, this is what I'm being told here in Toronto. And he goes, yeah. He says, you just got to follow through. It's all genetic predisposition. You look like Uncle Don, my youngest uncle, who had died at 51. And he said, that's the cards you're dealt, and you just got to go. You can't do anything else but just do what the doctors tell you. And I said, well, everything everybody's telling me is not useful. You're telling me it's just the genetics, and I don't like that at all, because their mom, my grandmother, lived to 103. My grandfather lived till 87. My mom, she passed in 2022 at 100 years old.
Wow.
And so, but I didn't know that was, going to happen with my mom. But I just thought, no, I'm not accepting any of this information. And in the midst of all this chaos, I woke up one morning and you just have these realizations that are obvious that there are people in the world who are the best of the best in each category. And so if you have someone in the natural healing who's done a lifetime of study into digestion or respiratory or endocrine system, or you name it, right? All the 15 different operating systems that are going on in the body. I just knew there were people on the earth who had the top level knowledge, but there's no way you can find them, because how would you find them? You could have given me $10 trillion and I wouldn't have found any of them, because it's a needle in the haystack, or even worse. And there's so much confusion in the natural healing space of everybody claiming that they've got the answer.
Mhm.
And so what I did is I spoke out loud and I asked verbally, said, if I didn't demand, I said, if I could be led to the people who have this information, and if I could be given eyes to see them when I meet them, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. If I'm shown something, I'll do it. And that's all I said. And I meant it. And it was scary to say I'll do whatever it takes, because you don't know what's going to be required of you. So it was one of those situations where I just didn't have anywhere to go but up. I'd gone through a business bankruptcy that year because
Mhm.
I'd allowed my company to be put under the care of another company on a royalty.
Mhm.
And that company got sold out, and the new buyer coming in reneged on the contract. So again, it was like nowhere to go but up,
Mhm.
and I was going to suffer. And so I thought, okay, I'm willing to suffer as much as required.
Mhm.
That's just the way it is. I'm willing to have as much fun as required.
Mhm.
We're willing to spend as much money, which I didn't have, as required,
Mhm.
and do whatever it takes. And let's see what
Yes.
happens. And so it was this very slow motion. I met one person, did nothing happen overnight. There was no cloud breaks or anything. And it was just one little step at a time, where I found out that that 36-month window that the doctors told me that I could have, I wanted to get that into 5 years if I could learn enough. And
Mhm.
then if I could get 5 years, maybe I could get 15. If I could get 15, maybe I could get 50. And then I started to learn about how the body can get a little bit healthier every day in every category the longer you're here on the earth.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, that works. Because if I'm always getting just a little bit healthier in each area, I'm going to continuously get healthy until I have perfect health. And just like if you're going to set a goal on anything, you might as well ask for the perfect goal.
Mhm.
Why not? Because anything less is less. And
Mhm.
perfect means complete. And I've had people tell me along the way, well, you can't have perfect health. And I said, well, that may be true for you when you say that about yourself, but I say that you can. I know you can. And we're on that way right now. So all these very important things were shown to me. And I did get to meet the people at the very top of the world who had the greatest amount of knowledge. And I did apply those things personally. And then I started sharing with people because I wasn't attached to any of those things.
Mhm.
Say if you were a researcher and you found out some massive breakthrough on
Mhm.
health, and you've done a lifetime of work, and I come and I say, well, you should have this too. Well, because of the attachment, maybe you're not open to it.
Mhm.
And that's what I found. People who I met who were phenomenal, and they got older over the last 20 years, and many of them died.
Mhm.
And when they died, I thought, well, why did they just die? They had a master key, and they knew so much. Obviously, they didn't have something. And then I realized that a chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Mhm.
And if a link gets weak and it breaks, you die from that. But if a link is weak, it's just an alarm going off saying you need to focus on that area
Mhm.
and find out how to support your body's ability to heal itself.
Mhm.
And so I'm not just talking about organ function, I'm talking about structural joints, connective
Mhm.
tissue, fascia, muscles,
Mhm.
everything can be
Yeah.
dynamically healed back to a young person, which is the journey that I've been on and where I'm at right now, getting back to a youthful state in every category.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about what your first steps were and what you did and how it kind of led you to where you are now?
Well, it started out by, first of all, finding out what nutrients the body needs
Mhm.
and what elements it requires to detoxify. So
Mhm.
if you're cleansing all of the garbage that we have breathed in, that we've consumed through food and fluid and or through our skin, and we are able to get it out, that's a major breakthrough in itself because that supports the entire system. And if you bring in the right elemental nutrients for the body to be fueled that is missing in the food, and you add things in, then the body goes, oh, thank you. Okay, I know what to do with this. I know what to do with that. So I went through a major detoxification, nourishment, rebuilding. Also, the words that I speak, the thoughts that I think
Mm.
have to be based upon pushing those things forward and having the energy, finding out where's the energy coming from. Because you do have energy inside of you, but you also have energy outside of you.
Mm.
And you've got to tap into all of that. And so it just began with getting rid of, like my tumor, for example. It was a series of fungal infections,
Mhm.
yeast overgrowth, heavy metal poisoning that I got from 17 years working in the oil field.
Wow.
I had chemical overloads, had all kinds of other microbial stuff going on, parasites, all
Mhm.
that stuff had to go. And it was just a methodical plodding away day after day after day, getting rid of that stuff.
Mhm.
And I went through ridiculous healing crisis, which is I'm not into at all. And I don't think people should allow that. That was because of my lack of knowledge and being told by some radical people to do certain things. And so if I were to go back to myself 21 years ago, I wouldn't have ears to hear at that point because I was pretty dumbed down. But if I could go back to myself, I would be done in about 6 months and it would take a few $1,000s. But
Really?
then it was 1.5 million and 7 years just to get rid of my heart disease. The tumor dissolved out of my body and my liver came back online beautifully in that 7 year period.
So what are those things that you would do different knowing what you know now that you could do it in such a short time?
Well, the
Like
first thing I
machine.
would focus on is, yeah, that's a great question. The first thing I would focus on are the biggest rocks. Number one, hydration.
Mhm.
And that wouldn't be going and buying some little packet and putting it in the water. That's not, there's a whole, subject around hydration. So get my body properly hydrated. That would be the first thing. And
Mhm.
then start to produce more blood because what I didn't know, but in the research that has been done for us, when you're 20 years old, your body is full of dark red bone marrow. All your bone marrow is dark red at 20 years old. And
Mhm.
as you get older, that bone marrow converts to yellow, which does not produce stem cells or good blood
Mhm.
because your bone marrow produces the plasma.
Mhm.
And right now, today, Stephanie, you are producing blood, clean blood every single day.
Mhm.
Depending on how old you are, you're producing a little bit less than you were when you were younger.
Mhm.
And your kidneys and your liver are the filters.
Mhm.
And you only have 5 liters of blood in your body. You pump that every 60 seconds to every cell in your body, and there's 7,200 liters of blood pumped. and you breathe 11,000 liters of air a day. And I know that's a little overwhelming information, but it is real what it is. But our bodies are so dynamic
Yeah.
and they're so complex, but I had to make it simple. So when you produce more blood by adding plasma in fluid and drink it, so I take a pure water, I add purified sea minerals, not just regular sea salt that you can buy at the health food store. We're talking purified of heavy metals and microplastics and not damaged.
Uh-huh.
And when you drink that, that is the raw material your body requires to produce a lot more blood.
Okay.
And I never learned that part till I was 64 years old.
So
So,
which salt is it? Are we allowed to ask that?
well, it comes out of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company that we finally found after many years who takes the seawater extract.
Mm-hmm.
They concentrate it down. They make sure it's extremely purified. And we put that into a product we call Trace, not to be
Oh,
confused with other Trace brands out there. We're actually changing the brand to Restore right now because of
okay.
that
Yeah.
confusion.
I
And
saw
it's
that one.
equivalent to, yes, equivalent to 5 grams of sea salt in a liter of water per day. And for 1 year, I drank 3 liters of that a day.
Wow.
I'm down to like a liter a day now because once you get rid of the accumulation of waste
Mm-hmm.
and you start producing a whole bunch more blood than normal,
Mm-hmm.
your body can actually get rid of dirty blood. It goes out in your bowels. It just looks
Wow.
black.
Wow.
And then you keep doing that. And then your lymphatic system is able to dump into the blood. Then your cellular matrix is able to dump into the blood. And at 64 years old, it took an entire year until I wasn't seeing any more results. I was just good. I did it for 18 months, but the last 6 months didn't really do anything for me. So then I've dropped down to a liter a day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the most important thing that you do
Okay.
because that's going to, because every speck of blood touches every cell in your body every 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your immune system lives, in your blood. Because otherwise, how are you going to get to every cell in your body to keep the microbes out if it wasn't touching every cell? A lot of people say immune system lives in the gut. No, it doesn't. The gut is definitely an influencer on your immune system, but it's not your immune system. It's in
Yeah.
your blood. So clean blood, number one, first and foremost. And then once you get your blood cleaned and you produce so much, it cleans out every cell in your body, like even like all the tissue that was in my arterial veins and capillaries had become very hard and stiff because what you're breathing is tire dust, brake dust, all the pollutants that are in the world. That's called PM 2.5.
Yep.
PM means particulate matter, 2.5 is 2.5 nanometers. You can't see it, taste it, or smell it, and you breathe volumes of it every day, depending on where you are, even more than normal, right? If you're downtown, big city. So getting that out. And then making sure that you're bringing mitochondrial energy food into your body. You got to be taking nutrients that are filled with mitochondrial energy because that allows your body to have the energy that it needs to heal itself and to keep itself useful and charging forward. So the longer you're here, the more you do that, the better you get, which then lends itself to longevity with high quality of life rather than longevity where somebody's 100 and the last 10 years they lived is not fun. From 90 to 100 is no fun for most people. And it's the opposite now. So you can have a lot more fun as you go forward because you feel better and better and better. But we have to be willing to go through a suffering process to get the suffering out. Because like your job is to delete the suffering, right? But you know how much people suffer already. And they go, well, I don't want to suffer. So give me something that takes away my suffering. But it only masks it. It doesn't get it out.
Yeah.
It could be
I'm
a
in the
surgery.
process
It
of
could be.
I'm in the process of getting mine out, and there's been a lot of suffering, so this is really speaking to me.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so you clean the blood with your water, structured water, essentially, right? And you're using
yeah.
your
And the,
purified trace, and yeah, with the purified trace minerals that we can talk more about, and then you're removing the waste because you're flushing out the system.
yes.
And then what's next?
And well, I mentioned hydration, which is a separate thing because I do know that the water with the salt in it is hydrating, but you do have to have a very specific set of amino acids and electrolytes in the right ratio. And there's not a lot of it, but there's just enough. And there was hundreds of millions of dollars of research spent on that to become a fluid that you drink. I drink 12 ounces twice a day of that, and that guarantees full hydration for my whole body. And then that affects gut health. So I had to look at my whole gut health was so messed up. I had massive candida overloads. And there was just the whole process of getting the body to now rebuild itself from the ground up. So instead of trying to renovate a building, like if you bought a commercial building downtown whichever city you live in, and you wanted to do something with that property, you're really better off to tear the body right down, fix the foundation, and build a new building. And that's what your body wants at a cellular level. It needs to be torn down because it knows the blueprint. Then you can rebuild a strong body on top of a very solid foundation. People are not looking at the foundational functional things, not enough. And until you do, you're trying to fix a body on top of a weaker foundation that hasn't been dealt with yet. So getting all this stuff out, so that I talked about getting the stuff out from the inside out by drinking the fluids, getting the right nutrients, getting the right detoxification elements. Now you got to go from the outside in. And this is not a skin lotion. This is a very specific treatment you do to your body from the outside in, which causes suffering. And it removes the suffering permanently so that when you do the treatments later, there's no suffering at all. That's when you know you're there. And no one likes to suffer. Everyone wants to get around the suffering process. And there's ways to get around it. You can use devices, you can do surgeries, you could take drugs, you could take painkillers, you can do things that will mask it, but you've never dealt with it. And that problem, that functional problem, is going to continue to build up in the background and keep showing up. Right? And that requires remedy after remedy after remedy with a slow decline towards death and really low quality of life. So the opposite of that is to learn the master keys that you can do, because you're the one responsible for you. You don't answer to me. I'm not going to track you and say, hey, Stephanie, what are you doing? You answer to you. You're responsible for you. You convince yourself. You sell yourself on whatever it is that you're going to do, that you're going to stick with. Because if I'm here to sell you or convince you of something or be some slick marketer and get you to buy my stuff, that doesn't last. I'm actually doing you a disservice. Once I learn the data, then you, hyper-intelligent individual, and every one of you are hyper-intelligent, and you all know that, you use your intelligence to discern and to convince yourself, and then you see results, then that convinces you more. So my job is to go out and just find out what doesn't work and what does work. And then what is good, great, greater, and then greatest way up here somewhere, rather than be happy with the good, and then be willing to do whatever it takes. So your willingness and your clients and your audience, their willingness to stand up and go, if I'm shown and it sounds right, and in my gut it feels like it's true and it's common sense, I will do that, regardless of what it takes. So long as it doesn't hurt someone or hurt yourself, and so long as it doesn't break a law, a natural law, then we're good.
Okay, so what is this? What are we doing at the top of our skin?
Okay, so your skin is your access point to everything underneath of it. So when I was first shown this was actually the first master key that I was shown, which was November 2017. So we're coming on, 8 years later almost. And it involves, it comes from ancient wisdom, from what's called classical, not traditional, but classical Chinese medicine. Classical Chinese medicine is where you can take care of yourself. You don't need a Oriental medical doctor. You don't need diagnosis or acupuncture or herbs, medicinals, and things like that. Those are helpful until you find out how to remove the problem. But this is a percussion technique. So it's using percussion, frequency, and vibration, releasing all of the buildup of the stuff that gets into your physical flesh, your tissue, your fascia, your joints, your connective tissue, and your muscles. And when you can use your hand, which takes a long time. That takes like 3 treatments of 10 minutes each. Or we came up with a little tool called the activator, and you use that on the outside of your body by just staying on one place for 5 minutes. And it seems like nothing to start with. All you're doing is just slapping the skin on that particular area. It could be a shoulder. It doesn't matter if you've had injuries, your body will heal itself because you're stimulating a site for the body to send stem cells to it, creating a trauma site. You're physically seeing the release of all the stuff that is there. And what I call it is nano razor blades. What I mean by that is if you get a $1 million electron microscope and you analyze the air that you're breathing, you'll see it's full of quadrillions of little nano razor blades. And they go in and they get embedded. That's why people's hips and knees are wearing out all the time, because those two big joints are getting the most stress when you move around, and it's full of abrasives. So when you do this slapping technique, and people call it tapping, it's not tapping. I wish it was. It's slapping.
I saw you. Is that hand thing that you have?
Yes.
I love that, how that looks. Like, I'm doing a lymphatic course and we use all these different tools, and I saw that and I'm like, I love that thing.
It ties into your lymph system. It goes deep. It goes all the way into your body because you're putting a percussion frequency and vibration directly on that part. And once you've done that treatment, that's it. It's a one and done. You can go back
Wow.
there years later and nothing will come out because it's gone. So when your mom formed your body in her womb, she gave you the full download of all the nanoparticulate stuff that she had built up in her life at that point, that she got from her mom, that she got from your great grandmother, and so on. So
Yeah.
this is a pattern interrupt where we actually remove the stuff out of our body. Until we do, we are not going to enjoy life as we get older.
Mhm.
You've got to get it out. And that means that every square inch of your body has got to get a treatment, and every square inch will release what is in that flesh part of your body, in the cartilage, in the fascia, in the tissue. And when it's gone, it's gone. It is the most unenjoyable treatment I've ever had. It's not
So
enjoyable.
do you do it all in the same session, like the whole body?
You do usually 2 places per day,
Okay.
and you can even do 2 places every second day.
Okay.
And you always mirror it. So if I do this shoulder, I'm going to do this
Mhm.
shoulder at the same time. I'll take a picture and then I know I can go tomorrow right beside it. I don't go in the same place. It takes about a week for that stuff to drain out. You physically see it. You can visibly see it
Wow.
and you feel it. And so it's very real and it goes away. And that removes all the stuff. It goes out through your microcirculation and your lymphatic drainage. It goes through your bowels and leaves your body.
Wow. Is it called the BRR?
Yes.
Okay.
Bioregenerative release.
Okay. Very cool. Okay, so that's what you would have done back in the day if you knew about it, but you've learned about it in 2007. It moved the needle for you a lot.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, it moved it so much, it blew my mind because I was told to start with it was just for organ meridians.
Yeah.
So on this part of the elbow, on that soft part right in here,
Right here. Yeah.
yeah, right in there, I think that's your right arm unless our cameras are flipped.
Oh,
But
sorry. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, left arm is heart and lungs,
Okay.
and then right arm on the inside of that soft part of the elbow is liver, gallbladder, spleen, and large intestine.
Hmm.
The back of the knees are your kidneys and your pancreas, and the
Okay.
top of the hands and the top of the feet our stomach and small intestine. So your whole digestive.
So,
What it does, it stimulates the meridian and the
uh-huh.
body knows to release. Like
Okay.
I've had people do the inside of the right elbow and they'll get a big black mark right near their liver on their torso on the side.
Wow.
And I've got pictures of that.
Yeah. So
And
in
that,
your
that shows up for about 30 minutes and then goes away.
okay, so yeah, because I think I saw like the kind of is it on your Instagram when you were doing it on someone, and then there's like little bruising or something? Like very
Yeah,
cool.
depending on how much trauma is in the body at that particular spot will
Mhm.
indicate the color. The darker the color, the more there is. If you get white powder coming out, you've got a lot of heavy metals,
Okay.
but it doesn't matter because they leave. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. It's all going to have the same result at the end. It's going to be gone, which is what you want.
Can't wait to do all this stuff to myself because I feel like I've been hydrating, but not with your. I haven't been drinking 3 liters. I need to flush the body for sure, like for sure.
Mhm. How tall are you right now?
I'm 5'5".
So you'll need to do 2 liters a day, not three. I had to do three.
Okay, so 2 liters a day with the trace in it.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then how much with the aminos in it? And is that something that you get from you as well?
Well, that's another thing that we can share. I'll share the link where you can find that.
Okay.
And it's a very specific thing. There's only one supplier in the whole world. No one knows about this yet. It's so
Okay.
few people that, and it's just got started. The research was many, many, many years. And you do have to purchase it in the container
Hmm.
and you drink 12 ounces a day of that.
Okay.
And that's a study that started from making pure water to start with to realizing that hydration is a master key.
Hmm.
And if you're dehydrated, there's an increasing list of health problems that come from being dehydrated. So forget about the long list, just get hydrated, and that whole list goes away. And that ties into brain function. The other thing that I learned very early on that immediately changed me was putting a very specific type of magnesium chloride hexahydrate through my skin.
Hmm.
And you mentioned Ease, the Ease product, which is transdermal
Yeah.
magnesium. That is
Yeah,
a
I love it.
unique, one of a kind product in the world because we had the source and it took, again, years to find the company that does a seawater extract and purifies the extract of the magnesium chloride hexahydrate, which is what is originally in the ocean water. The
Hmm.
hexahydrate part is the 6 water molecules attached to every molecule of magnesium chloride. And when you put that on your skin once or twice a day, it goes into your skin immediately. It's very comfortable. It doesn't get sticky and itchy and scratchy like a lot of them do because they don't do it
Hmm.
right. It goes in right away, and then that stores in your tissue like a bank account. It also allows your muscles to go into a proper relaxed state. It supports your autonomic nervous system, so your able to get into parasympathetic parasympathetic mode in order to have your body rest and restore and digest. So it does a number of things. It reacts with 330 different biochemical reactions in your body. And there's so much study on magnesium. Anybody who's looked at it realizes, wow, this is a really important element that we're not getting near enough in our food. So people will take pills and potions, which are helpful, but they don't do the same job because it goes into your digestive system, then hits your bloodstream, gets filtered out by your kidneys, and eventually gets to the point, but it doesn't store up like a bank account. It just does its job and then leaves. Whereas you put it into your skin, it stays with you. And it takes about 90 days to build up a bank account. And
Yeah.
that gives you energy, calm energy. It gives you deeper sleep. It allows so many things like all your joints loosen up. You're not over calcified. People, as they get older, they get filled up with too much calcium because they're low on magnesium. Magnesium and calcium need to be hand in hand, like a
Yeah.
marriage. And when you don't have enough magnesium, you get stiff and sore, and people start turning into a statue when they get older and they're stiff and sore walking around.
Yeah. I have a story, like personal use of your magnesium. I was having severe heart palpitations with Lyme carditis. And I mean, I just slathered that over my whole chest and my back, and it would bring them, like, calm me down so I could get back. Like, it helped me through so many like traumatic moments. I used quite a lot of it. So and I can also attest to the fact that was very uncomfortable with all the other magnesium oils and salts that and they burn. I have sensitive skin, so yeah, I use it a lot and really love it. So,
Yeah, cool.
but I
So
didn't know it
now,
like stored in there like a bank. Sorry for interrupting you. I
yes,
just
no, yeah, no, it's good. No, you didn't interrupt me at all. So yeah, the whole bank account thing is essential because you need magnesium every second of the day. Now, as a woman, you need more than a man because your hormones are always moving and changing. You have your cycle. Your woman does not enjoy stress. Yet you do go into sympathetic mode, which should not be stressful. When you go into sympathetic mode of autonomic, you go get your stuff done, you get your tasks done, but you want to be able to flip back into parasympathetic as soon as possible. Men kind of thrive on stress in a lot of ways. We're different. And our job is to keep the stress off of women because women have so much more going on. And if you look at all the most difficult tasks, the road buildings and the oil well drilling and the construction of buildings, that's mostly men who are doing that because they're designed around that kind of stressful environment. Women are the creative ones, the ones who have intuition and they're thinking about the family and thinking about nurturing people around them and taking care of themselves. And you read your body way better than a man does because you're like a satellite dish and we're like a coat hanger with some tinfoil on it or something. It's the body intelligence. A woman's body could produce a baby potentially.
yeah.
And so that's a whole different world where you just got to have just the right amount of magnesium at all times and other elements like iodine. Your body has to have iodine. Every cell, not your thyroid. Your thyroid can't use iodine. Only your cells can use iodine. And the iodine goes in and cleans up the receptor sites that plug up the thyroid. And when the pure iodine goes in your body, it reacts with the things that are there because we're all breathing this stuff every day.
Yep.
And it reacts with heavy metals and fungus and microbial things and chemicals, and it converts into iodide. So long as you put the pure form of iodine in the right form, which is I2, which is very important, I2 molecular iodine in a low dose form, converts to iodide. The iodide goes into your bloodstream. That's what fuels your thyroid. Your thyroid receptor sites are now cleaned out. So you don't have like Hashimoto's or Graves or hypo or hyperthyroidism. All that stuff is just because the thyroid's plugged up and it doesn't have the right fuel. And so it reacts because your genetic expression is going to react it whichever way. Then that iodide fueling your thyroid provides the fuel that your thyroid creates T3, T4 iodine hormones, which then power your endocrine system, your metabolism, your body temperature, your gut health, and your brain power. So thyroid is obviously very essential to have functioning well, and it has to be fueled with the right
Yeah.
fuel.
And your perfect iodine, is that it's a spray, or do you make it into a spray? Is it a tincture that you make into a spray? Because I saw you talking about it, but I haven't looked into the product.
Right. Yeah, we've got to get you some right away. So we have a technology that converts the I2 USP grade, which means super purified form of crystal iodine that we receive it in a crystal form.
Huh?
And we have a technology to convert that into a gas. And then we infuse the gas into medical grade water at
Oh, wow.
300 parts per million. So it's very
Wow.
low dose, but it's extremely high volume. And what you would normally do with that, depending on how sensitive you are, you start out with just a little bit, put a little bit in the cap and put it in some water, drink it, see how you feel. And the ideal amount would be 1 capful in 4 ounces of water per day. You just drink it once a day on an empty stomach. And that's really all you need. But you can put it in a sprayer if you want. You don't need to. The sprayer in the little kit is for putting it on your skin. And you can dilute it down so you don't have the full 300 parts per million. You could drop it down to 50 or 100 parts per million. And it helps the skin to heal very quickly. So it keeps your skin youthful. If you have a burn or a cut or things like that, the iodine not only sterilizes it, it also gives the body the raw material to heal fast. Like we had a guy who had his hand crushed, and these 3 fingers were split right open because he had it in a press where he was working. It didn't crush his hand completely, but it split the skin open. You would traditionally go and get that sutured, and all he did was spray the full strength iodine on it for a couple of weeks, and you couldn't even see any scars. It healed that fast. So the body did the healing, but the iodine is the raw material it needs.
I saw a video of you talking about spraying it on the genitals to help for hormones.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, there's the skin, the scrotum on a male, and the flesh on the vagina is very sponge-like, and so that sucks it up right away. You put it on there, it goes right. So for women for progesterone, for men for testosterone, and it's an application right in the area. Plus, it's extremely good for your hygiene, keeps everything nice and tidy, and it's really good that way. So.
That sounds amazing because everyone's progesterone that we've been testing has been kind of bottoming out earlier than it should from all
Right.
the toxicity and everything that we're going through that you're talking about. So, okay, this is amazing. So we're going to hydrate the body. We're going to get it the proper building blocks. We're going to get the toxins out of the skin. We're going to spray the magnesium onto the skin. We're going to use the iodine to balance our whole metabolism, essentially. And it's antimicrobial and all those other beautiful things and kicks out some heavy metals. And then what?
So the one thing that we found that complements the iodine is a product called Solaris. Now, Solaris can be used individually without the iodine, and it's still very effective. Combined, it's really powerful because you take it about 20 minutes after you've taken the iodine. I say 20 minutes just to be in a safe zone. You could probably do it 10 minutes after because I haven't really measured exactly how long it takes for the iodine to get in, but I think the iodine goes into your bloodstream pretty fast. What the Solaris does is goes and turns all of the stuff that's released into inert matter so it's harmless. And all it is a combination of rosemary, clove, and thyme in a super concentrate. Like 1 drop will make your mouth frozen. It'll numb your mouth. And all you do is put that in water and drink it so it doesn't numb your mouth.
Yeah.
But it goes, yeah. And you can also use Solaris topically, but for acne, eczema, psoriasis, different skin problems, you can dilute it down and put it in the skin, or you can just rub it in and then wash it off. We've had people use Solaris where they had life-threatening skin disease, and they put it on and it blows it up in a couple of weeks and it peels off with no scarring. We've seen that many times.
Wow. I know rosemary is so powerful against all the electromagnetic frequencies too.
Right. Yep. So
then
that's the next. Now, you mentioned earlier, you talked a little bit about Lyme, and Lyme is to me, it's like biological warfare somehow. I don't totally get how it all showed up.
Yeah.
But people do study. If they type in Lyme biological warfare, they'll find some interesting videos.
Yeah,
And
I read the book Bitten. It was a big eye opener.
right.
It
So
talks about all the warfare. Sorry, go on.
right. So the one thing that you can fight against Lyme with, like a person who's young, if they get Lyme disease, they can fight it off way more efficiently than a person 35 and up.
Yeah.
And that's because of the NAD levels in the body. So when you're 20 years old, you're producing lots of nicotinamide adenosine dinucleotide automatically. And as you get older, you start producing less and less. And all the NAD does at the end of the day is it powers your mitochondrial engine. So when your mitochondrial engine is like a 20-year-old, your body heals rapidly. And we have stumbled upon a total breakthrough when it comes to NAD supplementation.
Really?
People right now are spending a few $billions a year altogether on NAD injections, subcutaneous, intravenous, and these different precursors and different products. Those are all somewhat helpful, but they don't work at the level of this breakthrough, what we now know is stabilized NAD. And it comes in either a powder form or a little tablet. Now, the tablets are available. We're just coming out with them very shortly. I have them now, but we haven't got them actually in bottles with labels yet because that's how new it is. But for the last 5 years, There's been extensive research and studies and clinical trials done on this form of NAD. So when you have a stabilized NAD, now when you put it in your body, it stays 100% intact.
Mhm.
Unstabilized NAD, when you put it in fluid and inject it, it destabilizes it more and it has a very minor effect. People who
Hmm.
do NAD IVs suffer. It feels like
Yeah.
somebody's standing on their chest, right? It's
Yes. I've
burning.
seen it. I've never
No,
done that myself because I saw a healthy NHL player doing it and he was suffering and I was having Lyme. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that.
that's right. So I have had people with significant Lyme for 10 years. They're in their 50s and they take what's called a repletion dose. This has to be done privately. Like I do not advertise this online. We can talk about it
Yeah.
and people can inquire and I can tell them exactly what the download is on it. But
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of how powerful this is. If you go to a rehab clinic and people are addicted to fentanyl, heroin, opiates, barbiturates, amphetamines, or painkillers, or whatever, or alcohol, they're at the end of the road. They're not going to make it, right? The party's over. And they go there because they have to get off those drugs. And when they do that, they're spending the first 5 days is literally hell on earth for them. They're suffering so much that they want to die, but they don't die. They want their drug. They can't have the drug. They're in like a kind of a lockdown with an armed nurse and no access to drug dealers. And they're going through this terrible withdrawal sequence. And so when the NAD in this form was provided to them and all the tests were the same, they all worked 100%. You take 500 milligrams of the stabilized powder, you put it in 4 ounces of water and stir it in until it's melted and you can't, it just looks like water.
Hmm.
And you put it in your mouth, you take a sip, usually 5 or 6 sips
Hmm.
to be able to get the 4 ounces in your body. You have
Hmm.
to swish it. You got to time it on your phone for 1 minute.
Hmm.
And you swish it for 1 minute, it goes sublingually into your bloodstream.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter whether you ate food or not because it's not going into your digestion. You can just swallow the water, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But after you have to do it for a minute. You do that 4 times a day, like
Hmm.
8 o'clock in the morning, 12 noon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 8 at night.
Hmm.
And these people who would suffer immensely with withdrawals and DTs, they don't get any of that. They can eat
Wow.
food, they can exercise, they can sleep, and they have no symptoms.
Wow.
That's when you know you've got something that actually works.
Yeah.
And they come in, right? They're like totally skeptical. You're telling me that I'm going to put powder in water, I'm going to have no symptoms because they've been through these detoxes before. They know how
Yeah.
hellish it is.
Yeah.
And they don't believe it at all. But when they do it, it works 100% of the time.
Wow.
So that woke me up to like, okay, I'm paying attention to this one. This is like a master key NAD.
Yeah.
You do not suffer. You do not have burning pain. You do not have somebody standing on your chest.
Yeah.
You can get 200 milligrams a day of this,
Yeah.
or 2,000 milligrams rather, 2,000 milligrams a day into your body. And then after 5 days, you drop down to 100 milligrams from then on to maintain your NAD levels like a young person because it
Yeah.
fires up your NAD engine again. Very unique.
So
It
you're gonna
also
have
works
that
with,
product available?
pardon me?
You're gonna have that product available?
Yeah, that's available now. It's just not
Oh,
like that one's private only. People have
okay,
to
okay.
contact us directly. We would talk with them. They would have a naturopath or a doctor or a health practitioner that would be, looking at what they've got going on
Yeah.
and they have to then they just follow these very simple instructions. Now, the one that will be publicly available is the tablet form, and it's 100 milligrams.
Mhm.
So if your body weight is under 180 pounds, you take one every 2 days. You just put it
Okay.
in your mouth, dissolve it for a few minutes, swish it
Mhm.
around for a minute, and then it's in your bloodstream.
Mhm.
Do that once every 2 days. If you're over 180 pounds, you take one a day.
Okay.
And this is affordable. Like gram for gram equivalent, you're talking $20,000, $30,000 that people pay for the
Yeah.
repletion dose.
Wow.
Right? This is down affordable for anyone who is in a
Mhm.
situation because they're going to be spending ridiculous money that they shouldn't be spending on
Mhm.
something that is not effective enough to
Mhm.
something that's totally effective, and then they're out of the weeds. Now, for
Wow.
Lyme disease, I have a very close colleague who suffered forever with this, and he was trying everything and
Yeah.
it would help. He would do these things that would help, and then it
Mhm.
would come back. And
Yeah.
it was just this roller coaster ride. He
Yeah.
got onto this stuff on the third day. He called me up and said, "You have no idea how much this has changed me. I can't believe it." And it just stays with him. Like he's good. He's good all the way through. And it
Okay, well,
continues to
I'm
be
doing
good.
this like ASAP. I'm going to be a poster child because I am so much better. I was bedridden, but it's not clearing away completely, like lingering symptoms. And it's still holding. So I need that last little bit because it's always like, oh, I'm good. And then it's like a lingering symptom and then it's not good.
Right. Yeah, that's what you really the goal. Your goal is perfect health. And when you set that as a goal, everyone will show up and all the tools and all of the techniques will show up on how you can achieve that goal rather than you trying to figure it all out. My job
Honestly,
was, hmm?
no, honestly, because you said that earlier today, like the person, you set that as your goal and you met the right people along the way. And I'm thinking in my head, maybe he's the right person for me today because I'm at the end of this kind of journey and it's all just speaking to me so much. So I really believe that. I think this might be one of those moments.
Yes. Yeah. And so my mission was to go and learn those things and then share that with the world as much as possible. Much given, much required. So we're ready to go with this sharing of knowledge now. And it is very disruptive, but we're not out to disrupt anything. But the thing that we want is people to get the maximum return on their investment because you're going to be spending time, energy, effort, and money on something.
Hmm.
You want to get that return. You deserve perfect health. Each person does,
Yeah.
even
And
if
I
they're a
want
drug
that.
addict.
Yeah, they do. And I want that for all of my patients as well. And a lot of them do a lot better with what we do than even I do. But all of these things that you're telling me can propel them further. So that's why I do this podcast to get this information out to people and to keep learning. Because I mean, well, first of all, you know what happens to your brain on Lyme? Like it's like gets attacked and you're relearning half of the things you already knew.
That's right. And your work with professional athletes is a big deal because a professional athlete has to have a body that can, first of all, avoid being injured,
Hmm.
and second of all, fixing the injury rapidly if they do get injured. But these measures make the body almost bulletproof, where they don't tear. Because if you have quadrillions of little nano razor blades in your shoulder, for example, or your hip or your knee, and you twist it from a athletic endeavor, and you get banged, that's like death by a billion cuts. When you
Hmm.
remove all that stuff out, you get banged and it doesn't
Hmm.
bother you.
Hmm.
Whereas otherwise, you're going to get very bothered.
Hmm.
So, getting people to prevent injury by going through their whole body, getting all the stuff out, and or if they're injured, having rapid repair. My left knee, when I was 21 years old, was damaged significantly by a 800-pound firewall that fell on top of me that I got away from
Hmm.
with my body, but my leg got caught and the edge of the wall that fell down and crushed the side of my knee and a bunch of ice and snow up in northern BC. I was working in the oil field at the time. And from then on, for 39 years, I had a total nightmare with my knee because I couldn't snow ski or water ski anymore. Even though the knee healed enough to walk and run, I couldn't twist it. Any twisting was just blowing up like a basketball. And I had a constant ache in that knee that increased over time. And when I was 60 years old and I found out how to do this bioregenerative release with the activator, I did 8 5-minute treatments. And within 1 week, my knee was totally healed. And I can do anything with that knee I want. I can do deep squats, I can twist, I can jump. It doesn't matter. And it's pain free and it works perfectly
Yeah.
just from 8 5-minute treatments. And people go, no way. Well, okay. You don't need to believe it. You
Hmm.
don't need to believe it. You just need to do it. And once you
Yeah.
do it, then you believe it because it actually
Yeah.
works.
Well, it makes sense to me because I saw that and it almost looks like is it like almost like a hard silicone hand or something? Like the
Yeah,
hand?
it is. Now I had a big one the size of an actual hand. And then I found out about there was a smaller one that goes deeper more definitively and
Hmm.
it works even better. So that's what we have now. We just got 20,000 of them in stock. It
Wow.
took quite a while to arrange the manufacturing and to get them shipped in,
Wow.
and they're ready to go. And I'm doing a course on that as well, which I've got to complete in the near future where people can see it. Then they just buy the course. They don't even have to buy the hand. It comes with it. It's just
Wow.
a tool in the kit. And so that will come out, and that's going to be one of the most best investments anybody's going to make. The thing that they have to be armed with, not just the tool,
Hmm.
not just the knowledge,
Hmm.
they've got to build courage because you are already courageous at a certain level.
Hmm.
And so then when you do these treatments, you earn courage points,
Hmm.
and then you fill your bank account full of courage because it doesn't
Hmm.
cost any money to do it. Once you learn, there's no money involved. And
Hmm.
you could use it for the rest of your life and help your whole family once you know how to do it. So long
Wow.
as a person is willing to go through the suffering process to get the suffering out,
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm all for that because I'm a chiropractor by trade, but we do like deep soft tissue and we do a lot of like fascial and lymphatic work. And, it doesn't feel great, but we get great results. But I feel like this might be an easier way because we're trying to teach people how to do stuff for themselves at home. So it almost sounds like our lymph course is coming out that this should be part of it because we have a section where the tools that release so much stuff. But this sounds like an amazing tool that
Yes, it's
fits in.
profound. You'll love it.
I feel
You'll hate it, and then you'll love it.
I'll just love anything that gives me relief. I am not scared of temporary pain because when you've had Lyme, you have chronic pain, and there's nothing worse than pain that's just, you don't know when it's coming. It's unpredictable. You don't know which organ or which joint is, or your whole body or your head, or like, I mean, I've had the strangest symptoms. I had a dent inside my head that felt like someone, like my cranium was opening, but really it was like cerebral spinal fluid sucking out of my body. Like I've had severe lymphedema. I've had insane heart symptoms and I've had neurological symptoms like Bell's palsy and all of this. I mean, the suffering has just been there and it's like, oh, I'm so much better, but I'm at this point where it's like just these lingering things and I deserve the 100%, the perfect health, just like you're saying.
Yeah, you're at an inflection point right now. When you're at that inflection point, you're ready. It's
Mhm.
like when the teacher is ready, the student shows up. When the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And so you're teaching people all day. I teach people all day. I learn as a student all day. You learn as a student all day. So we're
Mhm.
here to teach each other and be taught by each other because
Yeah.
everyone's got a different journey and they've all learned certain amazing things that we all share with each other. So
Yeah.
there's nobody, no big icons. There's just all of us on a level playing field here to serve each other and give each other this information.
Yeah, I agree. I don't gatekeep information from anyone because I feel like, information's free anyways, but teaching someone how to use it and like even how you're explaining right now, it's people can go get your products and like know how to use them, but they're not just products, they're tools. They're tools for your life to of things that we're lacking or we're getting too much toxins. So we need help. We need help in this day and age with how much toxicity is coming at us.
Right. As much help as possible and definitive help because
Hmm.
there's good, great, greater, and greatest. And good and great and greater gets in the way of greatest all day if you don't have access. And the world revolves around people not knowing how to get rid of the problem.
Hmm.
And to me, that's extremely unfair. Like
Yeah.
you're not a gate hole. You don't hold back. You tell people.
Yeah.
And I'm the same
100.
way because it's exciting. Our greatest buzz is to see people have a wonderful life.
Yeah. 100%. Like that's all we want for people. These are another thing that I've used of yours a lot, especially for kids. I use it for zinc is the pumpkin seed oil, but
Hmm.
it helps with so much other things than that. I just know that it's a good source of zinc and I like them to have food grade kind of supplements.
Right. The pumpkin oil is very interesting. The reason that ours is one of a kind is because of how we process it.
Okay.
So, pumpkin seeds, whether they're organic green ones or the organic Styrian ones, Styrian means it comes from Austria. So, they call it
Okay.
Styrian pumpkin, and they don't have a shell. It's a big black pumpkin seed. The problem with processing the oil out of that is all the other technologies require you to roast those seeds, to cook them.
Oh.
And if you don't cook them, the oil doesn't come off the fiber and their equipment cannot get the oil out. It jams up their equipment. We have a technology that we can put a raw pumpkin seed in with no roasting at all into the press and we get all of the oil off the fiber because of the technology without damaging it. So it has a
Wow.
totally different flavor, totally different texture, different color, and of course,
Mhm.
a far superior result. And that goes in. Yeah, the zinc is an important thing to get it in the natural form. It also has many, many other nutrients that help to fix, liver problems and kidney. It supports all kinds of organ function, brain function. It's amazing for skin. It's just one of those things you just need a little bit, only a teaspoon a day. It's not like you have to have a whole lot because
Mhm.
I'm not big at making seed oils part of my food.
Mhm.
Because all the seed oils out in the market are, I think, extremely damaging. I
Yeah,
don't
they're
touch
rancid.
organic hummus because 40% of it is oil, seed oil.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, that's off the menu. But these therapeutic, undamaged seed oils are very, very effective. And
Mhm.
our most popular seed oil is the black cumin seed oil, which is referred to as black seed oil a lot of times.
Yeah.
But the black cumin also is pressed with the same technology, so it's not damaged. And that's like a whole body tonic. It's amazing for hair and skin. You can massage it into your body. You can drink it. It's wonderful for your dental health. It also helps with gut issues. And, they in the Middle East, they say it cures everything except for death. And I always joke around with them and say it cures death too, by the way. And I'm just kidding. I don't think anything cures anything per se.
Mhm.
Your body heals itself. It
Yeah.
just wants the support. That's it. And there's all these support mechanisms around us now.
Yeah. I love black seed oil as well. And honestly, that was one of the things that really helped me. I think I did like 4 months of it every day. Like I've cycled through so many things, including like a sublingual NAD that helped me a lot. I can't remember which brand right now because you just made me think about it when you were talking about yours. I don't know if it was as good as yours, but it was the best that I could find.
Yeah.
But yeah, black seed oil helped me a lot with my Lyme symptoms as well, I'll be honest.
And also your immune system. I discovered in the research that our body produces 1.5 liters of mucus per day, and it recycles because it's keeping all your lymph, all your mucous membranes cleaned up. And so if they get plugged up, then you get congestion, and you get plugged up here, you get head colds and sore throats and bronchitis or whatever. But
Mhm.
we have a product called Perfect Immune, and it's a Pelargonium pseudoides. It's extracted from a wild-grown geranium plant in South Africa, and all it does is one thing. It just keeps all that mucus fluid clear and clean and thin so that
Wow.
it's moving and flowing and keeping all your mucous membranes cleaned up. So that supports the body so you don't have to get sick. The reason people have to get sick is because they get congested. They get
Mhm.
plugged up and the
Mhm.
body's going to do a purge. And you always feel way better after you have flus or colds and stuff. But who wants that? I don't want to ever have downtime. I can't stand flus and colds, and I don't get them
Yeah.
because I'm always working on those things.
Well, it can probably help then with like tonsil stones and stuff like that that show that stagnation in your throat, right?
Yes, very much.
Because that's a sign. And the amaranth oil, that's for stress.
Well, amaranth is weird. We call it warrior's blood because warriors back in the South American tribes, they would chew the amaranth seeds, but there's very, very little oil in an amaranth seed. It's mostly proteins and fibers. So we have a way to extract the amaranth oil out, even though there's this tiny amount in it. You know, we put through 5 pounds and it only makes 1 ounce. And that oil is high energy. We've done tests where I don't know if you ever heard of the 9021. What is it called? 29029. It's a Mount Everest event they have all over the world now every year. And they find a mountain that you can climb up and down and up and down and up and down, equivalent to Mount Everest within 3 days. And people are getting very fatigued doing those climbs, and a lot of them don't make it. 50% of the people can't even do it. But when they get fatigued, we give them one dropper full only of the amaranth, and within 10 to 15 minutes, they got their energy back and they can go. And
Wow.
it's also an antioxidant because it has squalene, 8% squalene. So internally, it's awesome. It also works amazing on skin for keeping your skin youthful, and all the emollients that are in it are really
Wow.
powerful.
Amazing. What's your the uric acid one? Is that for people who have gout, or is it just because in general people build up uric acid, or there's a perfect balance that you're trying to get?
Well, the reason we have that, and if I would have been told at 20 years old that you take this, I would have never had the uric acid problems that built up because the older you get, the less your body's able to process the uric acid and it starts to build up like a crystal.
Mhm.
So it'll build up in joints. People who have gout are obviously having a massive amount of crystals built up in the large toe, the big toe area. It can be
Yeah.
extremely painful, but it's also tied into arthritis. But the main thing, which I found out about, I was like, hold it. What is that doing to the kidneys? When you have uric acid crystals, your body has to deal with that. It literally tears up the kidneys over time and causes renal failure. So this is a matter of all our product does is called perfect uric because it keeps a perfect uric acid balance. You do need a little bit of uric acid at all times. It's part of your function, but it blocks the enzyme that digests the uric acid out of the purines. So if you look up purine foods, Purine, you'll find out that some foods have a ton of purines in them. So when you take the perfect uric on an ongoing basis, you keep that perfectly balanced, the right amount of uric acid at all times. You never get the charge and the little crystals building up that cause all the problems.
This is just all so amazing. Like I just could talk to you forever. It's just like an hour flew by, I'm not gonna lie. Gosh, I honestly like am like, what should I do first? Like, do I have to hydrate the body before I start trying your other supplements?
Well, you can do as many things as you want. I just basically say there's 15 master keys. Choose which ones you would like first. If
Hmm.
you want to do them all, it's great. They all work. They all synergize together because
Hmm.
you're taking all your systems and supporting each system that supports each system.
Hmm.
And so the more the merrier. But again, you don't want to overwhelm yourself either but you
Okay.
want to define it. So
Yeah.
you can just start simply. You're already, using the E's. That's a really important one. That's a
Mhm,
must-have. Iodine's a
mhm,
must-have.
mhm,
Cleansing the body out, the activator is a big deal. So,
mhm,
do those. The hydration thing, I'll share the link with you when we're off the call so you can share that with other people where they
mhm,
can just buy it straight up. It's very affordable. And then the trace for producing more blood,
mhm,
you want to bring it all on because it all works together so well. A lot of people are thinking, well, I just want to try one thing and see if it works, and then I know it worked, and then I'll try another one and see if it works, and I know it works. But we've already proven conclusively over the last 18 years that we're in our 18th year of business where we have been producing more and more of these definitive things and learning more and more. And we've done that for you. So now it's just you engaging as how you feel,
mhm,
deciding for yourself, okay, I'll do this, this, and this. Let's see how that goes. And you just keep
mhm.
building on that.
I'm very, very excited. I'm excited for everyone to hear this as well because again, it's like you're building on the foundations. It's not like a million things either. Plus, it's not even none of them are even capsules because some people get like fatigued of like taking all these capsules, right? All the time. It's like they all seem food grade, right?
Hmm. Right. They are.
And
They're
then
all
the
liquids, except for the NAD as a powder or a little tablet.
Mhm,
Everything we have is liquid form.
mhm. And then you got the spray, which I love. I love different entry routes. Like even we even use suppositories sometimes. So like, because they're so powerful. But
Yes.
yeah, I honestly, my athletes already love like the Ease Magnesium, even just for like delayed onset muscle soreness, like spraying their body up after games and helping them sleep after games because it's hard for them to kind of wind down. But we use it on kids, like to calm kids down that we're helping through like PANS and PANDAS and autism and all of that, right? You
Right.
can just spray it on them. It's an amazing tool. And if anyone's used like any topical magnesiums, it's not like them at all. Like it is not oily, it's not salty, it doesn't burn, it doesn't leave a flaky white stuff all over the top. So I can definitely speak to that. Like I said, I've used the black seed oil, the pumpkin oil, and your iodine I'm going to switch to, and I'm really excited about. I mean, so each of these were built for a different pillar that you're talking about?
Yes. That's right. And also they do multiple things instead of
Mhm.
just focusing on that one pillar. It actually supports everything. It's very synergistic and complementary and congruent with each other. Yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to talk about? Because I mean, everything's just been so helpful.
Well, I think, really it comes back to the psychological approach to ourselves, how much everyone loves themselves. You love yourself. You really
Mhm,
do. I wasn't demonstrating love for myself until I was 46 when I was going to lose my body. And
mhm,
I had a don't care attitude, and
mhm,
that doesn't work. I
right.
found out that I cared a billion times more than I thought. At
Mhm,
that time, our youngest child was 6 years old. We had seven
mhm.
children because we were trying for girls. We had five boys and two girls. And
Wow.
I'm 46 with a 6-year-old, and there
Oh,
was 32 years of child raising total from the time you start the first one and finish the last one at 18.
wow.
And it was this massive responsibility. And I thought, what is going on? I'm going to be
Mhm,
taken out of the equation because I'm going to lose my interface with the land of the living with my body dying. This
right.
is not cool. Wow. And I wasn't caring about people. If
Mhm,
I cared about people, I wouldn't have allowed myself to go so far.
mhm,
And, so now, 21 years later, we're all just getting started because now we have all of these master keys.
mhm,
And so it's the psychological thing of how much do you want to step up every single day?
mhm,
If you don't step up, I was being punished for not stepping up. And
mhm,
I had to learn. I don't like punishment. I mean, punishment means I was going to suffer. And
mhm,
I brought it on me. Nobody was sitting there waiting to punish me.
mhm,
Right? It was me who brought on the suffering. It's me who got rid of the suffering.
mhm,
And I had to learn to do that. So just building your own courage, encouraging yourself, encouraging others,
mhm,
and becoming an example of what can be done to inspire others. And when
mhm,
you use the word inspire, it means in spirit. We
mhm,
have a spirit of health. We have a spirit of servitude, a spirit of love,
mhm.
and build that inspiration every single day.
Mhm. Well, even you just saying that, like, this is the What Happens in Vegas podcast, so VAGUS for the vagus nerve. And even that just made me feel calm and inspired. And, I feel like that's what people need more than ever. I feel like people are getting uninspired. They're not feeling well. They're, dragging themselves around. And this is maybe the wake up call for someone that they can maybe get woken up before, like, you with your diagnoses and even me with my Lyme disease and just, thrive before they have to suffer. So I think that's my goal for people and sounds like you're sharing this for similar reasons.
Yes. Yeah, we're motivated.
Yes. Well, thank you so, so much for being here and for your time. Like, it's amazing what you're doing. Your products are amazing. I can't wait to share this with everyone. And we'll be linking the products that aren't yours in the show notes. And for people to find you, you have your own Instagram, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's Ian Clark Activated is the Instagram handle.
I love that. And then you have the Activation Products Instagram as well and your website.
Yes, theactivationproducts.com. And then you have links to allow people to get access to special offers and things like that.
Amazing. Yeah, we have our affiliate, and then we actually, for Canadians, we stock so far your E's, but we're going to be stocking more. So yeah, it's amazing. And I am so thankful for you being here and thank you so, so much.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.